We are so excited to continue this journey through Philippians. So if you have your Bible, make sure you have it ready as we look at Philippians chapter 2. Do we ever think as Christians we're supposed to live a certain way? Are we supposed to go to school and behave a certain way, raise kids or treat our parents a certain way? Is there like a set of rules that we're supposed to believe and how we're supposed to think? If we're following the same God, why is it that sometimes Christians can live totally different lives? I can be a Christian and I can live my life out this way, have these political beliefs, participate in these things, but another Christian can live a completely different way. I've been talking about this a lot with my small group right now because we live in this really polarized world where you're supposed to believe one way or the other and we're supposed to fight about it almost. And as Christians, what are we supposed to believe? Now the Bible, it was written hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but it's still true and relevant today. We might get lost or it might be a little confusing and it doesn't say this is how you should vote and how you should live your life. There is still truth in how we should live as Christians. If you're like me and you're trying to figure this out, how to live as Christians, I think Philippians 2 is a really good place to start. And this Paul says, if there's any encouragement from Christ, any comfort from love, any participation in the Spirit, any affection and sympathy, complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord of one mind. So right here, right off the bat, Paul says, as believers, we should be of the same mind. How is this possible? How do we have the same way of thinking? He says this, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only at your own interests, but also the interests of others. This is where we start. This is the core of what we believe. It doesn't matter what school you go to, what sport you play, what family you were raised in, what political party they are. This is where we start. Are we looking at the interests of others? In the original text, the word interest is a filler. So it's like, don't look at your own, whatever that may be, but instead look at the other person. So it could be like, don't look at your own happiness, but look at the happiness of others. Don't look at your own reputation, but look at the reputation of other people, the own health, your own finances, your own success. But instead, let's be focused on the success of other people. As a Christian, this is how we should be living our lives because it's the example that Jesus gave to us. Take a moment and just think, what might that be for you? What is something that you take pride and you really care about yourself, but you maybe should be focused on for other people? Paul continues in this chapter to give the examples of how Jesus took on the interests of others instead of himself. Jesus did this for three things, so obvious. One, he became man, a God became man. Two, he lived a super humble and servant life. And three, he took on our death that we deserve, and he died instead. He looked and said, their life with God is more important than mine here. Jesus loved his neighbors so much that he died for them. As Christians, I want us to ask that question. For us to be unified as one body of believers, how can we impact our friends, our family, our classmates, and live a life like Christ? How can we put their lives above our own? And that can start impacting all of the decisions we make, the way we think, the actions we choose to do. How can you help your friends at school? How can you encourage your family members or love your parents well? How can you be there for people that are different than you? If it's the way you look, your economic class, or people with different beliefs, how can you listen and be a light to Christ? That's what Philippians 2 is all about, and it even gives us practical examples of that.